Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And after a difficult start to the Major 4 qualifiers for Optic Texas, they still are confident they can make the winners bracket for the Major and have a decent result come the New York Major in just a couple of weekends time. But also Scump responding to some fan criticism about excuses potentially coming out of the Optic camp the last couple of weeks, saying that no more excuses, they just need to work on improving. Very much enjoying your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. Everybody else on the channel, thank you very much indeed for doing that one. Plenty to dive into today. First of all, just wanted to mention this Rokkr, of course, 4th of July yesterday. Remarkable scenes, actually. The #1 fantasy team on the Breaking Point site right now is an all UK team, all English team from the London Royal Ravens. So, like, this is a thing we introduced not long ago now, where you can pick more than one player from a particular team. Whether they can keep this up right now, because they're the only team, well, they're one of the only teams that's undefeated right now in the league. They're 3-0 going into the final week. They could have, of course, have a good result, but far from guaranteed. Pretty sure they play FaZe, not exactly sure, but it's not going to be too easy. These are the point standings. Just wanted to compare this as well. This is this season, and thankfully this is far more competitive than what we saw last year, right? Because right now it's all up for grabs. Like an Ultra and above, I think are probably safe. I think that Ultra should at least get something done at the Major, but like even right now, I think they're 1-2 in their matches so far in this qualifier, so they have a lot to fight for as well here with Optic in terms of qualification for winners. Like if Optic are playing a team that was already comfortably through, maybe Optic are in a situation where, like, okay, their victory is somewhat easier because the other team doesn't need to win so much. In this situation though, Ultra still need the point, and Ultra need to qualify for winners, so that's going to be a massive matchup, of course, next weekend. But to me, probably Ultra and above should be safe. Boston certainly are now on 160. Thieves still not guaranteed, but I certainly think they'll pick up enough points in this final week potentially, and also at the Major themselves. And then Guerrillas, Rokkr, Mutineers, Subliners all fighting over those final couple of spots. Now this is what it looked like last season, right? This is the entirety of the season, but it was just crazy really to see how, like, how far spread apart the league was last year. Now yes, I think Vanguard and the fact that the game might not be as competitive as it was last year has something to do with this, but also just looking at the teams, right? Like Seattle Surge were a disaster last year again, just like they were in Modern Warfare. Royal Ravens last year, they went through so much drama already with the team, had a difficult time, but just didn't have a particularly good squad to begin with. Guerrillas were just terrible from the get-go. And then Paris obviously last year were 18-22, but if anything, they were just generally taking victories against the other kind of bottom tier squads right here. So this year Paris also terrible, but everyone else improved, right? So that was the thing towards the end of last year. Like last stage 5 wasn't particularly interesting because we already kind of knew the 8 teams that were going to go to the playoffs to go to the World Championship. This season it's more up for grabs. It's just a good thing. Probably Vanguard is partly to blame for that, but it's almost a good thing. But I still think the main reason is the teams just being more competitive this time. And just like how much FaZe dominated last year as well. 34-7, had like over 100 points, more than the next best team in terms of season standings. And also it must be noted, I think last year, I'm guessing they must have got more points for major victories than they do this year. But I was just comparing the numbers here, really. The fact that like a load of teams here had over 300 points. And this year, like the maximum right now is 280. Like it just shows there's been way less COD played this year than last year. I guess the point systems were different, but if you look at the amount of series played as well, like there were way more COD played last year actually compared to this year, so it's kind of frustrating as well. But let's talk about this then from Donny Temp, because of course we saw a couple of days ago he was hinting that he might just step away from Paris, put himself on the bench. But as he says right here, happy birthday to his teammate Gravity, you know, can we win a match day? I'm like, what's going on right here? So, I mean, look, hopefully they can get back into a groove really Paris season, because we want them to do something, right? Because if Temp steps out of the team, they for sure have zero chance to win. And they do play 2 massive games this upcoming week as well, not for them, but for World Championship qualification, right? Because they play, I'm pretty sure, Florida and the Minnesota Rokkr. And New York will certainly hoping that Paris can get at least one upset there, because, well, New York's situation is still far from easy despite a phenomenal start from them for the start, of course, of the Major 4 qualifiers. But yeah, Temp, probably this tweet is indicating that he's maybe decided or had second thoughts about stepping away from the roster. Of course, if he does step away, I guess they'll bring John back. Temp effectively hinting that he was going to bench himself for the rest of the season on Paris, right? Because it's just getting too frustrating for him, which does make sense. And at the same time, they'll probably only play 3 more matches to the end of the year. They'll play the final 2 next week. Then they'll play probably 1 game in the Major, get eliminated top 12, and that's going to be job done, right? So I guess Temp's thinking, yeah, it's only 3 more matches. Might as well stick it out to the end, given he stick it out for the whole year so far, I suppose. Also, someone's birthday was yesterday. That was none other than Shotzzy, turning 21. So happy birthday to Shotzzy for sure. But of course, a couple of days ago, didn't have the best kind of, well, early birthday present, playing up against Crimsix and the New York Subliners when they fell short and now sit at 1-3. So just wanted to kind of break this down real quick for you guys, just to discuss the actual options here and the way that Optic can still make it to the winners bracket. So they're currently 1-3. 7-10 map count for 1-3 is not terrible, but it's not exactly great, just because, I mean, we see Guerrillas here also 1-3 with the 7-10 map count. But Toronto Ultra, they only have a 4-8 map count. So it's plausible that Toronto, let's say Toronto win their first game, but then lose to Optic, they probably will still have a worse map count than Optic. So the way this is going to work is there's going to be some 2 in 3 tiebreakers. That's just generally how it is. If you get 3 wins, you're through. If you get 2 wins, you might be through if the 2 in 3 tiebreakers work out in your favor. Historically, Rokkr love going 2 in 3 and then having like a bad map count because they only win game 5 and they lose 3-0 and 3-1, and therefore they won't make it to the winners bracket because they'll lose out in the 2 in 3 map count tiebreakers. And effectively, it's map win percentage that is important here, assuming that it's not all tied and other tiebreakers come into effect. To Rokkr, they're certainly precarious as well. Mutineers and Surge both 1 in 2 with 5 in 6 map counts. That's not too bad. Therefore, it's plausible that if both of these teams go 2 in 3, then they might well have a good enough map count to make it through, right? So it's going to be really spicy, actually. Some of these teams are going to end up going 3 in 2. Like, I mean, Seattle Surge still think that they have a good chance of going 3 in 2 based on their performance, but some of these guys are going to go 2 in 3, right? And obviously, of course, can go 2 in 3 maximum. Guerrillas, I don't have much faith in making it out either. But what it boils down to is that Optic need to beat Toronto probably relatively comfortably, right? A 3-0 would be great. A 3-1 would be probably acceptable. A 3-2 might not be good enough depending on the map count situation. And Toronto also, like, I mean, one of Toronto and Optic aren't going to make winners here, more than likely, which of course would be a massive story in and of itself. Now, Optic know they haven't been playing well enough lately if they want to actually, you know, win something, win Major 4, win the World Championship for the rest of this year. And of course, Eddie gave his thoughts on that. But they did a video actually just a couple of days ago. I imagine this was meant to be part of kind of like a pre-show, or because they could do this like roundtable segment, which became its kind of own video. I wish it was a little bit longer, to be honest. But they were discussing some things, right, and talking about the practice and how it's been, and saying that since Illy's come back, they definitely have taken a lot of strides. Like, it took them a few days to get back into the groove, and the more time they have with Illy, the better they're going to get effectively. Also, Illy said that he's still confident. Of course, this is recorded before last weekend's matches, but he said kind of going into the week against Paris and New York that he's still confident that they can make winners bracket, and based on the way the week has gone, it's still certainly possible. And Scump was also saying, because Shotzi was discussing his internet difficulties, and also the fact that I'm pretty sure Dashi was unwell, and maybe the team didn't play from their facilities, right, in the headquarters. They had to play from home. They had a pretty difficult time with the internet and stuff like that as a result. And Scump saying, look, before the fans say anything, it's not excuses. That wasn't the reason why they lost their first weekends of matches. They just played poorly, and you know, kind of taking accountability and saying, look, we've just got to improve. No more excuses coming through from our side.
Internet here is way better.
And you said you were playing through COVID as well?
It's not fun. It's definitely not fun.
Yeah, it was a rough week for the boys.
You were playing through COVID. You were playing through 100 degrees. How are you, Shotzi? What were you playing
My
through?
Ethernet cord is messed up.
Oh my god! Y'all were all
No,
over
I
the
fixed it
place.
yesterday. I
We
mean,
were all fighting our
what
own
is-
demons.
my Ethernet cord. So like, dude, I did a speed test yesterday, and then like, it for some reason just wouldn't load. Like on the bottom right, it would say like a little like it would just say that I'm offline. Basically, I was like, what the? So I kept trying, and then like it just kept doing the same thing. It just would disconnect. So then I was like, maybe it's the Ethernet cord. So then I tried a different Ethernet cord, and now it's perfectly fine. So I'm pretty sure I was playing with a messed up Ethernet cord. I'm almost positive.
Well, yes,
just
we
randomly
use
went
that
out-
as an excuse.
Wait, because randomly when I would be playing, I would just randomly disconnect. Wait, what?
We're good.
Wait, that's what Killer would say. He doesn't have the Cat 5 or whatever.
Cat 6.
Whatever the
We're not
Ethernet
Cat 7
cords
though,
are.
but it's just like, we gotta get him a Cat 7.
Nah, but I'm being dead ass too. That's not even an excuse. I mean, we didn't lose because of that reason, but I'm saying like,
Yeah.
my internet was actually messed up though.
It wasn't
COVID.
ideal.
Yeah, we didn't lose because it was 100 either. Before all these,
COVID. That's how we lost.
That's why. Yeah, I knew
before
there
we
was a
hear
reason.
excuses, like just shut up. like we know we sucked last weekend. We're working on it.
All right,
Yeah, we just had to like revamp the system and
The
like,
more time we get, the more everything's gonna go back to normal.
Yeah,
That's-
everything's
Exactly.
starting to like.
everything's starting to. Yesterday, things started to click again.
I was
like,
ooh.
like the first day we were winning off straight talent. Like yesterday, we were winning off like,
Getting
oh, now
rotations
we're setting
back.
up and.
yeah.
It's like ooh.
I'm like, oh shit, I got dopamine yesterday. And there's like, back up, let's double nade this. I was like, yes, sir.
You get a kill, double A flat. Oh my god.
Yeah. Yesterday was good.
That one they said different.
Yeah, we're just only goal now is make winners. That's it. Make winners and we're happy.
Yeah, and that's
Which we will do.
Yes.
yeah, very doable.
So that's the clear thing right from the Optic camp right now. I think that obviously they had a difficult time when they weren't playing in the same facilities. They were kind of unwell. That was the first weekend of match, and you could kind of understand maybe to a degree why things weren't ideal for those matches against Boston and Minnesota, but next week theoretically should be better. They beat Paris, but they didn't beat Paris incredibly convincingly. The fact that they lost the control was certainly still a cause for concern, and then of course they went up to play New York and got pretty much comprehensively outplayed in all the respawns, right? So I'm sure the Optic guys aren't looking at this and thinking, okay, even though of course that clip was recorded before this most recent weekend, but still, I'm sure they're not looking, and I'm sure they're not really making excuses in their head. They actually tweeted this out during the Paris series, but of course about the league servers, but didn't really tweet anything after the New York series to a similar effect. So I'm guessing they realise, and I'm sure Rambo realises that they just got straight about played, right? As he said right here, lots to work on in Respawn. We're just not playing efficiently right now. We will be working hard to get back to where we need to be. On a positive, some really good search games this weekend. Big one, of course, versus Toronto, and then goes on to say, like, well, happy birthday, just shot and all this type of stuff, right? So definitely some interesting questions coming out of the Optic camp. It still seems like they're confident, like, going into that week, and they probably realised that losing to New York was a possibility there, but still, I'm sure they recognise where they're falling short and what they need to work on. We saw Scump say yesterday that they're just, sloppy gameplay, to be honest, right? Which isn't the level they need to be performing at if they want to win championships again, right? And effectively saying, like, look, for the final push going into the World Championship, we're just going to focus on 100%. So we'll see if that pays off for them. As we say, big game against Toronto, and usually the Toronto series they play are bangers, like in previous seasons at least, and usually they're game 5s, which might not be good for Optic, right, given the map count situation. We'll see how that one goes. I want to talk about Doug St. Martin actually real quick, because the Boston event, of course, coming up next weekend. This is what the venue looks like. I thought it was rather cool, the Helix Center or whatever exactly it is, with all the kind of land setups. I'm sure there's going to be some spicy trash talk going down, but Doug St. Martin actually has some words to say just a couple of days ago. So of course he doesn't get on particularly well with Johnny, who, well, former teammate, I'm pretty sure. Then he went on to Clayster's team, then there was some drama at the LAN event, right, and Johnny was dropping like 0.5s or something, and then Doug was saying, okay, this guy's cheating, or this guy's an onliner or something, and he wanted to, well, have some monitor camming effectively going on. And Doug even kind of doubled down on this on stream, saying that Johnny didn't deserve the opportunity on Paris. He's not even any good at all, especially in a LAN environment, and there's actually nothing positive about this guy.
Honestly, though, I feel bad for Johnny, because this is either like he's gonna fry and he'll probably get another spot on Paris again next year, or it's gonna f him over.
That kid, I don't give a about him, bro. That
Okay,
kid's a
well, yeah, I know you're not cool with them, but I'm just saying, like,
bro, the kid's such a piece of. Like,
I'm saying I would feel bad for anybody that would get like kind of over in that spot, kind of is what I'm saying.
I
Like,
don't think he deserves it, bro. Guy's a piece. Least deserving pro players I've ever seen in my life in the league. He's done nothing on LAN. He literally gets turned on LAN and on. His shot on line is way better than it is on LAN. Like, I've heard from both his teams he played on that he literally just gets turned on LAN. I watched him play. He doesn't shoot as straight as he does online, so I think he's doing something weird. And he's not appreciative of anything. He's a scumbag, so, like, there's nothing good about him, to be honest.
So quite the spicy statements from Doug, I thought, to be perfectly honest. And of course, the other storyline about Doug right now is the whole idea of the Champs format update. Like, Doug has definitely been in communication with the league, with Spinner Spence, with Daniel Sai, to try and get something done. I don't know if they're going to do anything about it with all the complaints that have come through. He's certainly still expecting a response, though. He says it's a holiday weekend. I'm hoping they follow up tomorrow. So we shall see if Doug gets any response from the league as to whether anything's going to change here. But yeah, just to finish out with a nice little clip here from Doug St. Martin himself. 1 versus 4 with the sniper rifle. Doesn't get any better than this. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit on the like button, tell the YouTube gods this is a good video. I just like you should see it as well. And hope grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you guys as always. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.
But it looks nice. Like, it looks very nice. It looks like a good team. Oh, Doug! Yo, Doug is tweaking. Yo, Doug, you gotta clip now. Oh, for the Twitter clip. Oh my God! Go, go, go! Get out! Run! Doug is locked right now. That's clean. Oh, he's on it. He's on it. Let's close the doors like God. Enemy bomb! Oh! I've never seen somebody more cursing you. I've never seen somebody more